What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you guys an Oscar video. If you guys are new here, feel free to click that subscribe button and that bell notification icon for more reviews, reactions, rankings, and more movie content. It's crazy to believe that the Oscars are less than 2 weeks away. Sunday, February 9th, we will find out what's going to win specific awards like Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, etc., etc. We will all find out the results that night. And so, guys, with the Oscars being less than 2 weeks away, I have to make some very highly anticipated Oscar videos just for you guys. I got 2 coming out, one for this week and one for next week, the week of the Oscars. This week, I'm going to be giving you guys my final Oscar predictions for 2020. How it's going to work is I'm going to go through a category, say all the nominations, and then I'm going to make my predictions. What I want to win personally and what I think is going to win objectively. Let me know down below in the comment section your guys' predictions as far as what you guys think is going to win the Oscars for different categories. What snubs are you still upset by? There's still snubs that I'm upset by. Let me know all that shenanigans down below in the comment section, and keep in mind, this is just my personal picks. Let's get started. We're going to start with Best Visual Effects, and the nominations are Avengers Endgame, The Irishman, The Lion King, 1917, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Not the strongest category for visual effects, but I'm going to say should win Avengers Endgame and will win Avengers Endgame. I think Avengers Endgame will win Best Visual Effects. I think the effects are overall magnificent. The Lion King is Lion King, and Rise of Skywalker's fine, but I think Endgame is going to win for Best Visual Effects. Our next category is going to be for Best Film Editing, and the nominees for that are Ford vs. Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, and Parasite. Strong nominees right there. What I think should win this category is The Irishman. I think that has the best editing of last year. Just how they were able to make that movie a 3.5 hour long movie into a really well edited film. Just incredible. But I don't think The Irishman is going to win for film editing. I think what will win is Parasite, because Parasite has been winning some really shocking awards for best film editing. And if you look last year, Bohemian Rhapsody won best editing in a very certain award show, and it won at the Oscars. So I think Parasite, because it won those major awards, I think it's going to win at the Oscars. Alright, we're going to skip the makeup and hairstyling and costume design because I'm not into that. And we're going to go into Best Production Design. Beautiful sets and everything that goes into all of it. And the nominees for Best Production Design are The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Now, what I think should win for production design is 1917. I think 1917 had beautiful production design. The trenches and how they were able to make you feel like you were in that war and in the trenches with our lead characters. They actually built an actual war zone. The trenches are real. You're with the soldiers. I think it's going to be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is going to end up with the win in here, but 1917 is the dark horse in here. And now we're going to continue on in the technical categories and go to Best Sound Editing. And the nominations for Best Sound Editing are Ford vs. Ferrari, Joker, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Now, what I think should win for sound editing is Ford vs. Ferrari. I think Ford v. Ferrari, just the sounds in that movie with the race car sequences, how they were able to blend it in and make it sound real is absolutely incredible, those racing scenes. What I think is going to win for sound editing is 1917. Just, it always goes to the war movies, just the battle sequences, the gunshots, just the planes flying over. It's just absolutely phenomenal sound design in that movie, and I think 1917 is going to win for sound editing. And now we go to the opposite side for sound mixing. Now this is also kind of the same thing, but a little bit different, and the nominees are Ad Astra, interesting, Ford versus Ferrari, Joker, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Very interesting nominations right there, and same thing, I think 1917 is going to win again for Best Sound Mixing, and I think it should win because 1917 has incredible sound design. All of those aspects just, it makes you feel like you're in World War I with these characters. Now we're going to the music categories, and the nominees for Best Original Song are I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away from Toy Story 4, Randy Newman, I'm Gonna Love Me Again from Rocket Man, I'm Standing With You from Breakthrough, Into the Unknown from Frozen 2, and Stand Up from Harriet. Best Original Song, what I think should win this category is Into the Unknown from Frozen 2. Just have it win something. But what I think will win is I'm Gonna Love Me Again from Rocket Man. Even though Rocket Man got one nomination, I think it's very deserving for this award. And now let's go to Best Original Score, one of my favorite categories at the Oscars. And the nominations for that are Hildur, not going to say her last name, but her score for Joker, Little Women, Alexandra Desplat, Marriage Story, Randy Newman, 2 Oscar noms for Randy Newman, nice, 1917, Thomas Newman, and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, John Williams. Now, what I think should win for Best Original Score is 1917, Thomas Newman. That is one of my favorite scores from last year, next to Avengers Endgame, which should be in there. But Thomas Newman, just some of his songs from the 1917 score. But I don't think 1917's winning. It's going to be Joker. Hildur's won the most awards for this category. And I rewatched Joker like 5 times, and I just love that score. It's so dark, it's haunting, it scares you, and it really does. And now let's go to a very fun category, which is Cody's favorite, Best Animated Feature. And the nominees for that are How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, I Lost My Body, Klaus, nice, Missing Link, and Toy Story 4. No Frozen 2. No Frozen 2 in there. Personally, what I think should win is How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. I think it's about time they give it to a DreamWorks movie and not a Disney or Pixar movie, because the How to Train Your Dragon movies, the last time How to Train Your Dragon and Toy Story competed against each other was in 2010, the first How to Train Your Dragon and Toy Story 3, and now we're back again in 2019. But I think what's going to win is Toy Story 4. They always go with the Pixar movie. And Toy Story 4, I absolutely love Toy Story 4 as well, and I won't be mad if either one wins. Our next category is going to be for one of my favorite categories, Best Cinematography. And the nominations are Rodrigo Prieto for The Irishman, Lawrence Sher for Joker, Jaron Blaschke for The Lighthouse, Roger Deakins for 1917, and Robert Richardson for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. First of all, can I just say I'm so happy The Lighthouse got in here, because I wish it got so much more, obviously, but I'm so happy The Lighthouse made it in there. My personal choice, what I think should win, and this is an easy one, what should win and will win for cinematography is Roger Deakins for 1917. Very easy choice for me. I think what Roger Deakins did with the cinematography, making it look like one continuous shot, but in a war movie, just absolutely phenomenal. If you have not seen the behind the scenes of how they made that movie look like one shot, you need to seriously watch it on YouTube. Roger Deakins, I think his second Oscar is coming his way after Blade Runner 2049. The nominations for Best Adapted Screenplay are Steven Zaillian for The Irishman, Taika Waititi for Jojo Rabbit, Todd Phillips and Scott Silver for Joker. Controversial nomination. Greta Gerwig for Little Women, and Anthony McCartan for The Two Popes. My personal choice for adapted screenplay, what I think should win, is Jojo Rabbit. Taika Waititi's screenplay for Jojo Rabbit was absolutely charming. Very funny, sweet, dramatic. Just what Taika did with that screenplay was phenomenal. His best screenplay by far. But what I think will win Best Adapted Screenplay is The Irishman. Stephen Zalen for The Irishman. One of the best scripts from last year. Just anything Stephen Zalen does with Martin Scorsese, it's always Oscar golden. And now we're going to Best Original Screenplay. And it's a screenplay that is original. And the nominations for that are Knives Out, Rian Johnson. Marriage Story, Noah Baumbach. 1917, Sam Mendes and Christy Wilson Cairns. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino. And Parasite, Bong Joon-ho and Han Jin-won. So my personal choice for Best Original Screenplay, what I think should win, is Marriage Story, Noah Baumbach. That's one of my favorite screenplays from last year. I think the script is amazing in Marriage Story. So I personally think Noah Baumbach should win something. It should be for original screenplay. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's going to win. I don't know. I think the Academy has something for Tarantino in his screenplays. So Parasite would not be shocked if that wins at all, because this is hard. But I think what will win is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now let's get to Best Supporting Actress. Now this should get a little bit easier because I think all of the actor categories, all four of them are locks as far as who's winning. So let's start with Best Supporting Actress. The nominations for that are Kathy Bates and Richard Jewell. That's the first shocker of the nominations by far. Laura Dern in Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson in Jojo Rabbit, Florence Pugh in Little Women, and Margot Robbie in Bombshell. Now, this is a very interesting category because I have a different choice than what is the frontrunner. Now, my personal choice, what I want to win for Best Supporting Actress is, I'm going to go with Florence Pugh in Little Women, because I think Florence Pugh had an absolutely breakthrough year last year. All the movies she was in, Midsommar, Fighting with My Family, and Little Women. Just her performance in Little Women, how she was able to play a 10-year-old, 13-year-old, and a grown woman was perfect. I love Florence Pugh in Little Women. But it's easy, guys. Laura Dern is winning for Marriage Story. Very easy one to predict. Laura Dern has won everything. So Laura Dern, you can put her in your books as the first lock of the night. And we go from Supporting Actress to Supporting Actor. And the nominations for Best Supporting Actor are Tom Hanks in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Anthony Hopkins in The Two Popes, Al Pacino in The Irishman, Joe Pesci in The Irishman, and Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And same as Supporting Actress, I have a different personal choice. What I think should win Best Supporting Actor is Al Pacino in The Irishman, because Al Pacino gives one of my favorite supporting actor performances of 2019. My number one is Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse. Anyway, I think Al Pacino was excellent in The Irishman, but the easy winner is Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He has won every category, and Brad Pitt, he was very great in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He wouldn't be my personal choice. He was a very cool character, Cliff Booth, and so yeah, Brad Pitt, put him in your folder as the second lock. Now let's go to Best Actress, the leading women, and the nominees for Best Actress are Cynthia Erivo in Harriet, Scarlett Johansson in Marriage Story, Saoirse Ronan in Little Women, Charlize Theron in Bombshell, and Renee Zellweger in Judy. Now, this isn't the strongest. This is a very weak category for Best Actress. There are two I would easily put in here. But for Best Actress, since I haven't seen a specific film, I'm going to say my personal choice for Best Actress, what I think should win, is Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story. She gives my favorite lead actress performance from last year. I think it's ScarJo's best performance of her career. Just her and Adam Driver, their back and forth were so heartbreaking and real. But I'm going to go with the majority on here and say Renee Zellweger is winning for Judy. I haven't seen Judy yet, so I can't comment on her performance, but Renee has been winning everything. Now we go to Best Actor, the complete opposite. I think one of my favorite categories. So for Best Actor, the leading men, the nominees are Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Adam Driver in Marriage Story, Joaquin Phoenix in Joker, and Jonathan Pryce in The Two Popes. Now, this is the easiest one to predict, by far. I absolutely loved Adam Driver in Marriage Story. Gives, again, career work for him. I thought he was so great in here, and he's the closest to the front runner. Joaquin Phoenix gives the best performance of last year, in my personal opinion. I've seen Joker 5+ times, and his performance is incredible. Like, the way he transforms from Arthur Fleck into the Joker, just mind-boggling. So Joaquin Phoenix has this in a hand-mile long. And now let's go to Best Director. I think my personal favorite category is Best Director. And the nominations for that are Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, Todd Phillips for Joker. Very controversial nomination. Sam Mendes for 1917, Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. No women, what the heck? So for Best Director, my personal choice for Best Director would be Sam Mendes for 1917, because Sam Mendes and how he directed 1917, just incredible. The one-take shot, the war sequences, the story, and our characters. I think it's between two people. I think Tarantino, Scorsese, and Phillips aren't going to win here. I think it's between Bong Joon-ho and Sam Mendes. Either one of these two could win. 1917 won the PGA and the DGA. Sam Mendes won for that. So there's a strong indicator he could win for Best Director. But what I think the Academy is going to go with is, I think Bong Joon-ho is going to win for Parasite, and he would be my second choice. Because Bong Joon-ho, how he directed Parasite, again, magnificent. These actors, the ensemble won for the SAG Award, and the sets, the production, the score, the cinematography, just Bong Joon-ho, the script, like, he should win as well. Either one of these two, if they win, I will not be upset. And now the final category, the Mac Daddy of them all, Best Picture. There are 9 nominees, 9 movies nominated for Best Picture, and they are Ford vs. Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Usually the categories I factor in are editing, screenplay, actors. Those factors could all factor in what could win Best Picture. And last year's Best Picture winner was Green Book. It won Best Original Screenplay. Don't remember us, Mahershala Ali for supporting actor. But this year is tough. I think there are 3 frontrunners now for Best Picture. Ford vs. Ferrari, The Irishman, Little Women, Marriage Story, I think personally are out in this one. They have no shot, but fantastic movies in here. Jojo Rabbit could be the dark horse in here, because that is a fan favorite, audience favorite film right there. Jojo Rabbit, it's so sweet. Could see voters voting for it. Joker is another dark horse in here, because look at the nominations, but the controversy could hurt it, but I think Joker could have a chance as well. Personally, I think it's between 3 movies, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. It's between those 3. But my personal choice for Best Picture is 1917, since that's my favorite movie of last year. I think 1917 is going to win Best Picture because it has the facts. It won the DGA, the PGA, and I looked up and did my research, and if you look at the DGA winners in the past, usually those films, like, I think 8 of them have won Best Picture in this past decade. And so I think 1917, based on the track record, is going to win Best Picture, and Parasite's right behind it. I think they're over Hollywood, but for me, my personal choice and what I think will win Best Picture, I'm going with 1917. There you have it, guys. Those were my final Oscar predictions for 2020, right before the Oscars come out, which is less than 2 weeks away, Sunday, February 9th. And guys, let me know down below in the comment section if you agree with my predictions or disagree with my predictions. This week was the Oscar predictions, and now next week will be my ranking for all 9 Best Picture nominated films this year. I can't wait to do that ranking video and for you guys to see my favorites. Thank you guys so much for watching this Oscar predictions video. All my social media links are in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!